One of the great things that we've seen over the past several years or so is this increasing awareness of seed oils and ultimately the damage that they could be causing to our health. But how did this all start? How did seed oils become such a staple in the standard American diet and the standard Western diet? And it all starts back at the beginning of the 1900s. So it all started with cottonseed oil. So we had a ton of cotton, in abundance of cotton, and they really had nothing to do with the seeds. And eventually they figured out that they could produce oil from these seeds. And then from there figured out that they could promote this as a food option. And of course, this is very cheap to produce, making it very profitable. And then from there, it led to, in 1911, Crisco was introduced. And this was the first seed oil product on the shelves that you could purchase in America in 1911. And keep in mind, before this, the primary fat that Americans were eating was animal fat. You know, things like butter, lard, tallow, suet, and things like that. And also at this time, in the beginning of the 1900s, heart disease was not a major issue. And if you look at a graph, as time goes on, it really starts to rise from here. So 1911, Crisco is introduced. It is it is a lot of marketing behind it. You know, it's introduced as a health product. It's cheaper than butter, and it really kind of starts to snowball a little bit from there. And then about the late 1940s or so, Procter & Gamble, who owns Crisco, actually paid the American Heart Association $1.5 million to start promoting their product and seed oils as a healthy alternative to animal fats. And then in 1961, this became the recommendations from the American Heart Association. They said, you know, you should ditch the animal fats and start eating more of these seed oils. And then from there, of course, there's Ansel Keys and his diet heart hypothesis. And it really all led to where we are today, where no matter what restaurant you go to in America, you know, all these packaged food products, all this stuff, a lot of this stuff, an overwhelming amount of this stuff contains seed oils. And as I said before, if you look at this graph, it's really weird to see how the increase in heart disease is really in tune with the introduction and the rise of seed oils. So as I said before, this is something we've all learned, and a lot of us are, you know, becoming aware of this and coming to grips that this is not such a good idea. But when you want to talk about these zing words of the past couple years, you know, follow the science and things like that, you have to be very, very careful with these corporations, because looking back at this, heart disease is a major issue, and it wasn't an issue before. And when you look at this information, it becomes quite clear that vegetable and seed oils are doing a lot of damage to our health. It's not just heart disease. You know, a lot of these modern conditions that we are dealing with are being exacerbated by these oils. And this is, like I said, something we're coming to understand. So you have to understand, when you're following the science, it's always great to look at the information and take it for what it is, and you'll gather as much information as you can. But understand that the American Heart Association has been promoting a food that is very dangerous for us as a health option for over a century. And that's becoming more and more clear as time goes on. So really my whole point for making this video is just to shine a little bit of light on the very blatant negligence and corruption that we're dealing with. And I think the more enlightened we become about this and the more awareness we have, the less power that they're going to have to make these decisions over us.